Nick,
What?
this is what my voice sounds like. It's getting better, but it's not quite there. But you know what I want to talk about?
What, Mike?
I want to talk about intellectual property.
Ooh.
And I want to talk about games that are based on famous IPs and currently ones that you can't just get any old place.
willy-nilly.
No Peter Pans and things like that.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murph, and that's right. Today we're going to talk about our favorite games that are we an IP yet?
I don't know, man.
No, we're
one
not.
tried to buy us.
Anyone
if
can
we
use
aren't.
our likeness, I guess.
guess.
But as we're talking about our favorite IPs, IP again stands for intellectual property, as Mikey said. So this is like a marvel, something that is owned by a company that you would then need to pay them, or at least give them some of the profits to them for you to be able to use those characters, those likenesses, those kinds of things. There are a lot of things that are in the public domain, like Peter Pan, like Mike said, Sherlock Holmes, Cthulhu. That's why anyone can use these ones. But these ones you can't. These are specifically IP-based games, which I feel like used to always be really bad.
Yeah, I feel like it always used to be like a da-da-da monopoly, but now there's a ton of great games that are based on famous franchises, either movies, books, video games. There's really cool board games around all of these things that I feel like used to just be relegated to like mass market stuff that hobby board gamers or whatever wouldn't even bother thinking about.
Yeah, but now a lot of good games have IPs on them, so let's talk about some. All right, our number 10 is going to be the Stardew Valley board game. I really, really love Stardew Valley. I've put, oh gosh, I don't know, probably like 1,000 hours or so to Stardew Valley. I really, really love Stardew Valley. I just did a kind of a perfection speed run. It was great. I really love Stardew Valley, the video game, and they made a board game of it that kind of came out of nowhere, which was really, really cool. And it's made by Eric Barone, who is ConcernedApe, who made Stardew Valley all by themselves, and then some other board game people as well. But they actually made it, and it is a big co-op game where you can play up to solo up to 4 players. And you are doing a whole bunch of Stardew Valley stuff. If you don't know, Stardew Valley is a kind of farming simulator game, kind of like Harvest Moon, where there are like villagers and you get to know the villagers, you're giving them gifts, you're becoming friends with them, you're going fishing, you're going mining, you're doing some combat, you're doing all that kind of stuff. It was kind of, obviously not the first cozy game, but I feel like it's been one of the biggest things that's really pushed kind of cozy gaming nowadays. And they came out with a board game of it that you are doing all that. It's a cooperative game where you are going fishing. You are basically trying to get hearts with different villagers. You're trying to do all the different stuff you would do in Stardew Valley. But it's kind of cool because you can kind of all be doing everything, or you can kind of have like specialties. So there's been multiple games of this where it's like, hey, in this game, I'm gonna be the fisher. I'm gonna just be fishing all the time. Fish, fish, fish. That's kind of what I'm gonna be doing. This person over here, Mike, they're gonna be doing a lot of farming. This person's like, Lincoln's over here in the mine. Nikki's over here doing this. You can kind of do these different things and kind of do these tasks. You're all trying to go to the same goal. We're trying to complete the community center, which is kind of like the main goal of the video game. The only knock I can give Stardew Valley, the board game, and I would probably be a little bit higher on our list if it wasn't, but it tends to be really, really hard, especially at I believe the higher player counts. And that's kind of the only knock on it, is that this cozy game tends to be really, really difficult. And I like difficult co-ops, but because like the whole theme and everything like that, I feel like it should be a little easier, but ultimately I really, really enjoy it. I think it captures Stardew Valley, the video game, really well in a board game format. And it's just fun to be able to work together and work on that community center.
Next up on our list is going to be Dorfromantik, the board game. Now, this is from a video game by the same name, which was this hexagonal tile laying game. And so it obviously played like a board game. It got a lot of board gamers' attention because in that game, you are trying to place out tiles in kind of synergistic ways to create big areas of kind of forest and farmland. And then as you want to cap those off to kind of complete tasks. And everything from that is kind of ported over into a board game version to create a really cozy, nice, cooperative experience that you will gather more, kind of unlock more of the game as you go. So it has a bit of a kind of campaign to it, which is just unlocking new types of tiles that are going to give you access to new ways to score, hopefully increase the amount that you could score, kind of where you could top out your high score could be, as you're kind of going through and revealing things from boxes and stuff like that. The things I really like about this game is it keeps the same cozy aesthetic from the video game. It's a cooperative game where people can kind of just like hop in and out of the game at any point because it's just like very casual. You flip over a tile, place that tile on your turn, and kind of move on. So it's really kind of easy going. And I love the kind of, the slow reveal of new types of tiles, new opportunities, bigger and bigger scores and stuff like that. It's just a really fantastic way to kind of relax either solo or playing co-op.
Next up is going to be The Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era. This is a big new chip theory game that hit people's hands a couple months ago or so, but it's getting out there and it's getting played. This is a game based off of the Elder Scrolls, so like Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, those kinds of games. And it's a big chip theory game. So of course there's chips, you have various races like you do in the Elder Scrolls game. So you can be like an orc, or you can be like a red guard, or you can be an Argonian, or all those different kinds of races. They all have a little bit of a special ability. And then you are getting a class, so you can be like a dragon lancer or like an archer, or all these different kinds of classes, which will also give you things you can do. And then what you could do is you could level up your various skills. So all of those games have various level up systems where you can learn destruction, you can learn like two-handed, you can learn like heavy armor, you can learn illusion, all those different kinds of things. And this game is like that. So as you're going through the game is a little bit of a campaign game. A game of this is usually like 3 sessions long, so it's kind of a small campaign, and then you would reset it. It's not some really big, long, ongoing campaign. They're actually pretty darn manageable. But you are then getting these various skills when you go into town, and you can basically go see trainers and learn these various skills, and those skills are going to have skill sheets and then dice that go along with them. Kind of like Too Many Bones in that sense, where you're getting new dice throughout the game, and then you kind of specialize your person. Because you're like, this time around, I'm gonna be an Argonian that does like heavy armor, dual-handed, and then one-handed. I want to be like super melee, just hitting hard and blocking a whole bunch. Or next time you're like, okay, I'm gonna be an Argonian who does like stealth stuff and destruction magic. And you can learn these skills, and so every single time you can kind of play a new different character. It's super, super fun. And then you're going into delves, which is how you're kind of like delving through like various, you go through the mines or the caves or something like that. You'll then go into various battles. When you're doing battles, you're taking your dice and you're rolling them, and then you have to exhaust those dice. Again, kind of like Too Many Bones, but the main difference is that they will go into a cooldown track, and then every round at the beginning of your turn, you will get a certain amount of dice back out of your cooldown track. So you're kind of cycling these things. You can't hit the same thing over and over and over again, but those things will come back through. And that's a huge, crucial point for someone like me. I really like Too Many Bones, but I definitely like this one a little bit more because of the fact that if you just kind of whiff on a big roll, in Too Many Bones, you're kind of like, well, all those dice are gone now. And this time, you don't actually have that. You can kind of get things back around. I really, really like this game. I've played through a couple different campaigns already. I really, really enjoy it. I just want to explore and build new cool characters and explore these dice and how they work. Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era is an absolute banger.
Our next up is going to be the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. We like Lord of the Rings. We're going to talk more about it later. But this is a trick-taking game, a cooperative trick-taking game that's taking you through the first book, Fellowship of the Ring, specifically based on the books, and certain events and characters that you're going to be encountering are going to be following the events of the Fellowship of the Ring. So we're going to start off in the Shire, we're going to be moving forward, you're going to be encountering certain characters, other characters are going to go away, and these characters that are coming into the story are going to present kind of stipulations that they need for their goals to be met. And what we're trying to do is make sure that everyone gets the things they need. So it might be that Frodo needs to get the most ring cards out of all the players, or someone else needs to win only one trick, specifically like that. So if you played the crew, it's kind of familiar to those types of missions that you'll see, where you need to have certain cards or avoid certain cards, and make sure that you're playing in such a way that you are throwing cards off if they're cards where you're like, my character, I can't win this. I need to make sure I lose so this player over here gets these cards because they really are looking for this particular suit or whatever it might be. And for us, there is the art in this game is so beautiful, and it feels like it's from the books, and it is, again, based on the books, which of course is how we first encountered Middle Earth. So seeing something focused on the book side is really, really cool. You get characters like Tom Bombadil, spoilers, and things like that as you go through the story. And more challenges are kind of laid at your feet. So there's kind of a nice ramp up of difficulty as you go. And it just makes it really satisfying to like live and kind of do something fun like trick taking in this really beautiful immersive world.
Number 6 is going to be Unmatched. Now, we will say not all Unmatched is IP-based. A lot of Unmatched is in the public domain. You know, certain things like Sherlock and King Arthur, all that stuff's in the public domain. But nonetheless, they do have a lot of IP-based stuff, and all of it's been really, really fun. We really enjoy all of it. They had a whole set of Marvel characters that came out, so you can play as like Daredevil. And one thing I like about the Marvel set with Unmatched is it was a lot of the kind of like street level people. It wasn't like, you can't play as like Thor, right? It's not like the big godlike superheroes that are out there. It was like, you know, Cloak and Dagger and Daredevil and like Squirrel Girl, kind of like the lower end, not super low, but you know, like medium tier and kind of street level people where they're more like kind of like normal people who are then very strong, but they're not like crazy superheroes who are just like flying around and shooting lightning out of a hammer and stuff like that. And I thought that was a really good choice because it would feel weird if you had like Thor going against like Sherlock, you know, it's like some just dude who's smart against a literal god, right? Kind of gets weird like that. But nonetheless, I really, really enjoy the Marvel sets. They also have now the Witcher sets, which I believe are coming out very soon. And then you also have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set that's coming out for Unmatched Adventures, which is the co-op version of Unmatched. And I am very, very excited to play that one because I love TMNT. I've grew up on it like a lot of us did. And the cool thing about the Unmatched Adventures is all those characters you can just play in normal Unmatched. So you can still have, you know, a Ninja Turtle go against a T-Rex. So like, that's right, there's all these Jurassic Park ones too, right? There's a whole bunch of really cool IP-based stuff in here, but there's also a lot of cool public domain stuff, but the IP-based stuff is also very, very fun. And I'm just very interested. And it's also one of the things like with Unmatched, I don't really, like, I've never played The Witcher, right? I don't really care. I'm still gonna get those sets because I just want more Unmatched, and I just think it's really, really cool. Love Unmatched. The IP-based stuff they've done has been really, really fun, really, really good. Kind of just fits in with everything else. It's really great.
All right, next up is Dune Imperium. Now, you might be like, why is this not higher? Nick's not a fan of it, but I am a fan of it, so I had to make sure it was on the list. Dune Imperium, or Dune Uprising as well, is set in the Duneverse. And specifically the most recent films that have come out. And this is a great kind of blending of worker placement and deck building where the cards you play are going to give you access to certain areas of the board where you can place a worker. Send one of your agents out. And you're going to be doing this to gain resources, to kind of move up these tracks as you're, you know, allying yourself with some of the great houses and the major players in the, you know, the world of Dune. And then you're going to be sorting and settling out conflicts that are going to be happening each round. And if you win, you might get a victory point, or you might get kind of control over a certain region, so you get bonuses throughout the game. It's kind of a race to 10 points, at least in Dune Imperium. So I really like this because each player will be playing as a specific character from the story. Their characters come through and sort of like the bonuses and abilities you get, the kind of gameplay styles they have. There's all these ability to play these kind of like special cards during conflict. So you go in with a certain amount of troops, but you might have a surprise up your sleeve. And that feels very kind of Dune-ish, where you're all jockeying for position. You're trying to get a little bit of an edge. You're trying to surprise someone with a sneak attack or whatever it might be to edge out your opponents. And I think they did a really good job of blending in some of that kind of the immersive world and intrigue that happens into kind of like a you know, a Euro game with Euro-like mechanisms. I think they did a really good job.
Number 4 is going to be Marvel United. I have really, really fallen in love with Marvel United. Me and Lincoln here at Board Game Geek share a massive love of Marvel United. I really enjoy it. I, for years, had said, like publicly on videos, you know, and stuff, that I like the concept that, you know, like these kind of big CMON games or Awakened Realm games, they give you so much content for these games. But a lot of times these games are really, really, really big. They're really big, they're really long. I was like, I want this much content, but for like a 30-minute game. And then Marvel United came out, and that's exactly what it is. This game is like 30, maybe 45 minutes, but there are a billion different characters for it, and that's what I think is so much fun, and why I think it's really climbed the ranks of my all-time favorite games. So this is a game, a cooperative game where you are going to have some kind of Marvel hero. You're going up against a big Marvel villain. And then basically how it goes is on your turn, you're going to play a certain amount of cards. Those cards are going to allow you to move around the map. They're also going to allow you to attack like thugs or various baddies around the map. And then you can also rescue civilians. And the cool thing is basically when you play cards, you will also get to do the symbols on the card played previously to yours. And that's really, really cool because it's really cooperative. You're like, oh, I don't really need to move, but I'll put this here because I know you need to move and you'll get to use this card. So it's a really, really cooperative game. You're not just all on the same team, you're actively working together and actively doing things to help each other out. It's really, really fun. All the different superheroes, of which there are a billion of them, are all very, very cool, but I actually think the villains are the part of this game that make it really, really great, because a lot of the heroes, there's kind of only so many different things they can do from a mechanics standpoint with the heroes, but the villains do a lot of different stuff, and a lot of times if you're playing this villain versus this villain, those two games will feel very different because of the way you have to play, because of the villain and their kind of little scheme and their kind of plan. It's really, really great. I love the minis. Lincoln is always doing mini painting streams where he's painting through Marvel United. There's an endless supply of it, seemingly. I've been painting it myself. I really, really enjoy it. It's become one of my favorite games, and I love it. I like Marvel. I love the IP, but the game itself is just great.
Next up is going to be Star Wars Rebellion. Like many people, we grew up on the original trilogy of Star Wars. And having a game that is basically Star Wars in a box is awesome. And one that does it really well, where you're pit up, you have the Rebel Alliance versus the Empire, trying to see who's going to win. If you're the Rebel Alliance, you're just trying to outlast the Empire. The Empire obviously starts off very much in control, as it does in the story. And you are trying to, you know, stay hidden, stay alive. If you're the Empire, you're trying to root out the Rebel Alliance. Where's their main home base? On which planet on the board are they hiding out? Let's find them and let's exterminate, you know, this Rebel Alliance once and for all. The thing that's really great about this game is you have opportunities. You're in such a familiar world, number one. You have characters, locations, events, and things that are very familiar. But you have the ability to write your own story within that. Like in my personal game that I played most recently, Obi-Wan got turned to the dark side. Like, that is a difference from the main story that we know. And I was like, that's crazy. But then in the end, I blew up the Death Star with an X-Wing, and that was super cool, because then it came back to the story, and that was beautiful. And I also took over Coruscant as the Rebel Alliance, which was neat, because that obviously is their stronghold. So things like that are really cool. You have this kind of slick kind of card play to, you know, jockey around. You have battles in space and on the planets themselves. You're trying to, again, evade and complete objectives as the Rebel Alliance to sort of gain momentum and pull down this kind of timer for the Empire. The time of their reign is waning, you hope, and stuff. And so it's just really fun to, again, have something so familiar and the ability to go in a different direction that creates these new, interesting cinematic moments, because we know the images and stuff so well from Star Wars that you can really kind of see when you go this away, you kind of see that play out in your head, and it's a really satisfying thing.
Number two is the game we've talked about a couple times, and this is Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire is based off of the video game Slay the Spire, and it is really, really great. Slay the Spire, the video game, is already kind of just a board game. It's a roguelike deck builder where you are building out your deck, climbing the spire, fighting enemies, trying to get to the top of the spire, of which there'll be an enemy in Act 1. Then you go to the top of Act 2, find a big boss, and then you fight a big boss at the very, very end of Act 3. And you can do some other stuff after that. But it's a roguelike game where once you die, you then have to start all over again with an all new deck, right? It's really, really fun, and the game is so good and so well balanced, and every single character game, there's 4 characters, they all play completely differently. They have a completely unique deck. The way they work, the way you have to play them is very, very different. And then they made a board game version of this, which kind of seems weird considering the video game is already so much like a board game. And there's a lot of bookkeeping that happens in the video game that just kind of naturally happens. So it's kind of that thought, we're like, how are you gonna make this into a board game when we don't want to have to do that much bookkeeping? But they really did a good job. But other than that, it's kind of the same game where you are taking one of the characters, like the Silent or the Ironclad, you're getting their deck, you're getting more and more cards into your deck, you're upgrading those cards, maybe you're trying to cull some of those cards, and you're climbing the spire through this kind of procedurally generated spire. You're climbing it up to the top, beating the boss, going up, beating the boss, going up, and hopefully then beating the boss. It's so, so much fun. I love the video game. I love the board game. I want to play both of them all the time. They're so good. The board game is such a good implementation of the video game. We were shocked at how good it was, how fun it was, and how, because now it's a good big cooperative game, you can really work together, you can help each other out, which in the video game is a solo game. You can't play it with people unless I think you have a mod. So it's really fun to kind of play this where it's the same game, but there's other things going on, because now it's like, oh, I can give you this shield, I can give you this block, I'm gonna hit the enemy that's gonna hit you so that you don't have to take that hit. It's just really, really, really fun. I love Slay the Spire. It's a great implementation.
Now, as you talked about earlier, we're Lord of the Rings fans. We're bigger Lord of the Rings fans than we are Star Wars fans, and hence War of the Ring is #1 for us. War of the Ring, similar to Star Wars Rebellion, which I talked about a second ago, is Lord of the Rings in a box. It is going to give you the map of Middle-earth. You are, Sauron and their armies against the free people of Middle-earth, and waging that kind of climactic battle and once and for all kind of settling the fate of the ring and the fate of Middle-earth itself. This game is so epic and awesome because you have different armies. If you're, the free peoples who I tend to play, you're going to be having control of the Fellowship. You're going to be mustering the Rohirrim. You're going to get Rohan, and you have to get Gondor and all these different kind of nations sort of committed to the war and the war effort. So you're trying to get these people together. You're trying to sneakily move the ring closer to Mordor, because that's, of course, one way to win is to chuck that ring into the mountain. And you're trying to do this in a way that you don't get caught all the time. So you're trying to be sneaky. The main thing I think is so cool about this is, as the free people, you can have members leave the Fellowship, and they kind of go off into some part of the map and do their own thing. They're very powerful and stuff like that. But it gives you the opportunity to have people stay in the Fellowship that didn't make it. You can have Boromir live, hopefully in this one, and maybe stay in the Fellowship until the very end. And that's really cool because it's very different than, of course, how that story played out as we know it. And that kind of ability to take and pick and rearrange your Fellowship as needed throughout the gameplay creates really interesting decisions. And as the free people, you feel outmatched because you are. You have to pick your battles wisely because you have a limited resource of people to fight the fight, whereas Sauron can just keep pumping out more baddies to come at you. So you're really trying to be strategic in where and how you choose your battles, which members of the Fellowship you kind of keep and get rid of in terms of leaving the Fellowship to go be this powerful ally in this particular battle. There's so many cool decisions to make. As Sauron on that side, you were just trying to spread out, destroy, and just squash any hope that the free peoples might have. And if you can, find that ring before it gets even close to Mordor and get people, get Frodo and all them corrupted by it. Which is much better for your needs and stuff. So we, grew up in Lord of the Rings, massively important to us. Having this game be this big epic experience, as epic as the story itself, it just feels so fitting. And it's just so perfectly tailored to our kind of tastes, and the story that gets created through each gameplay is just awesome.
So that was our top 10 IP-based games.
Yeah, man. So again, those are some that we personally really, really like. We want to hear from you, though. What are there, again, more and more now, there are games that are based in worlds and stuff that we know and love. and give us something really cool to kind of do within that. So we want to get from you your thoughts. What are your favorites from this type of topic? An IP game, that is a kind of current franchise or something like that. What are the favorite ones you like to play? Put those in the comments below, and we'll catch you all next time.
Bye, everybody.